This is a tutorial on how to do the most basic of techniques for Vexx speedrunning. It is assumed that you have beaten the game casually, so you have a feel for how Vexx moves and behaves, and you also have a general idea of the layout of each of the worlds, and you've fought the final boss at least once. The first thing I'm going to go over is extended high jumps and extended long jumps. So by playing this game, you know that you can do a high jump by crouching and then pressing A, and a long jump can be done by doing it with a little bit of momentum. However, the game is programmed so you can do this backwards, and doing so increases the height at which you accomplish this. So a normal high jump, you can see I reach just under the ring underneath the light, but if I tap A and then press L just after tapping A, I will go higher. So now I'm clearing it and I'm getting about halfway up. And you notice there's a little bit of variance in it. That's because there's actually a lenience in how long after you tap A before you can press L to get the maximum amount of height. If you wait too late, you'll do something like that. Or if you go too slow, you'll only get a little bit of height. This is just a thing that you need to always be doing, and it also applies for long jumps, although it's kind of hard to see the difference. But the difference is definitely there. It allows you to clear certain jumps that the game normally wouldn't let you do, or in certain circumstances allows you to clear jumps without grabbing onto ledges, because ledges are slow, and so on. Getting used to the timing is relatively easy. It just requires a little bit of practice. Just get used to running around the levels with some extended high jumps, the whatnot, and eventually you'll be doing basically that as your mandatory movement. And that's how you'll be able to do all of the glitches in the game, because they all stem from the extended high jump and extended long jumps. So we're going to move on to the next bit, where we're going to use the extended high jumps and extended long jumps to do something called water jumping and spring jumping. So these little springs you see here, they just knock you into the air. Now, when Vexx is about to fall, he can do a little hop, and this hop is lenient enough for a high jump or a long jump. And so this will be used a couple times throughout the run, but it is just you getting used to it. Also note that sometimes, without actually having to hold the control stick, I will just leap forward in a long jump. That's because of the timing. Now for spring jumps, water jumps, and the range fireball jump, there is actually a small window where the jump won't let you high jump, and you'll instead do a long jump. And that is, like, no matter what you do with your control stick or anything like that, you will always do a long jump if you time it incorrectly. Or correctly, depending on what you actually want to. So the next bit is water jumps, and they function just like spring jumps. Just that little hop is basically the key to this entire section of tricks. You can just get that high jump or long jump when you shouldn't be able to, so long as you get used to the timing of the extended high jumps and long jumps. Moving on from that is rage. Now, believe it or not, even though I've played this game casually tons of times as a kid, I never really used the rage mechanic, so I'm not going to be surprised if you've played this casually and don't even know what the rage mechanic is. It's the bar on the top right. It fills when I hit an enemy. It's a little number, 2. Now, you want to fill it so you can activate rage, which ties into the most important glitch in the game. But in order to do it, you need to get lots of points fast, and the best way to do it is juggling. So your enemy will give you more points with each consecutive hit that you keep them in the air for. And as you can see, the bar fills up quite quickly, and I get some really high numbers out of it. So something you want to get used to is juggling your enemies. Also trying to juggle them around tight locations, being able to reposition and relocate your angle. These are all important details. And also being able to juggle with the presence of other enemies. Because they will try to hit you, and if you get hit while you're standing, you will be stunned, and then you will probably drop your prey. Also, picking up 2 enemies at the same time, whilst effective, you need to do it simultaneously like this, or else they will intercept each other. So if I were to stagger those 2, where I went 1, 2, 1, 2, there's a very good chance that one would collide with 2 midair, and then one will go flying too far forward, and one will go flying behind me, and then I'll lose them both. So that's just something you got to keep in mind when you're juggling. But getting them both at the same time is a pretty safe bet in terms of getting the most energy as quickly as possible. So how Rage works is that you press R, and Vexx will do an animation where he'll raise his hands, and then you'll hear a charging sound, and then he'll lower his hands and start falling. Particularly if you do this in midair, he'll actually freeze in place. There is a small window of time after he starts, immediately as he starts to lower his hands, that you can do a hop. And when you do the hop, you can extended high jump. From that, you can then cast a fireball, and a fireball is only done during rage. You press B, and then instead of swinging like I do, you shoot a fireball. And just like with activating rage, immediately after it, you can press A, and you will do a hop. So the exact order is ALR, ALB, AL, and that's for a triple jump. And the timing changes slightly for rage jumps and for fireball jumps. So unfortunately, the most I can give you is just you need to sit down for like a solid 30 minutes or so and practice getting the timing right. I will say this, the fireball jump has a slightly longer delay before you do the input if you want to go for a triple high jump. If you want to do a long jump at the end, you're more than welcome to do it at the same timing that you do the extended high jumps, because if you do the same timing, you will actually go too early, and then the game will lock you into a long jump rather than a high jump. But yes, the most I can give you in terms of that is to really just practice. Timberdale is a really great place. There's lots of little minions floating around. I've killed a good number of them, but basically there's you just juggle one, get your rage up, and then you just practice. You go up, rage jump, fireball jump. And that's basically the one trick you need to learn how to do really well and really consistently in order to be able to speedrun this game effectively. So long as you master rage jumps and fireball jumps, you'll be able to speedrun this game pretty consistently. Now, there's a little nuance I'm going to teach you how to do, and it's the wall climbing mechanic. So, if you've watched videos of speedrunners play this game, you will have noticed that they don't do this, they don't just climb up, they leap. This is actually a timed series of presses. It's not just holding A and then climbing on. You have to hold A for a certain amount of time, release, then repress it. And it's a matter of getting the rhythm down, as well as... I'm just going to make it daytime so I can actually see what I'm doing. It's a matter of getting the rhythm down right, and a matter of also figuring out when you should be doing it and when you shouldn't be doing it. So climbing up a wall with jumps only works if the surface you're climbing is perfectly vertical or is tilting away from you. So here I can't do it too well. I'll show you. because the wall slants up towards me, and so it's actually faster to just while you get through. And it's vastly more profound over here, so you can see it. So this is a mostly vertical wall. I can just climb my way up, but this part is largely tilted upward. It becomes more like a ceiling, so I want to just climb up normally. A little point of advice: do not flare kick, which is this, when trying to grab onto a wall, because the game won't actually let you connect with the wall during your animation of the flare kick. You'll end up pretty much back where you started, if not lower. Another thing that I need to tie into, so you'll be trying to gather lots of height wherever you go, and there's two ways to do it. When you do your jumps, you can either ground pound or flare kick, or you can kick and ground pound. Now, no matter what speed you're moving at, when you do either the flare kick or the ground pound, it will immediately lock Vexx's momentum and positioning to whatever ability it is. So the ground pound locks you in place and then gives you a little boost, whereas the flare kick does in fact slow you down. Even with a full long jump speed, I get shortened in speed. So the most effective in terms of distance is to go ground pound and then kick, not kick and then ground pound. And the reason for that is the ground pound locks you in place, but the kick gives you a little bit of extra movement. So it can grab you just that tiny bit of extra height and a little bit of extra length in your reaches. And that can help you, that can be the difference between grabbing onto a ledge or just falling and missing completely. With poles, obviously, if you've watched the videos, flare kicking up is obviously the best way to go. Just be careful of flare kicking up areas where the camera changes slightly. For example, here, like that. Because the camera changed during my flare kick, I lost position, went sailing off to the right, and fell down. And that's just something you need to be wary of. Just a quick double back to rage jumping and fire jumps, because I forgot something. While you're in rage, you can still run around with your rage active and then get a double jump with it active by using a fireball instead of a rage. So there are a few points in time where you will need to do that, where you'll need to maintain your rage after doing your double jump or triple jump, so you can then do a double jump or triple jump, a double jump later on. But you got to be quick because it's constantly draining while you're in rage mode. And obviously, after you've completed your rage jump or triple jump, you press R to disable rage mode, and it conserves what's left in your bar. Can't think of much else that's left in terms of what you need to do. Everything boils down to learning the timing. So much like Mario, Vexx has a normal jump and then a higher jump. And he only does the higher jump after he's done one jump, but he'll maintain his high jump so long as you keep jumping in concession. So it's a matter of getting used to a rhythm in extended high jumps and extended long jumps, and then mixing them with high jumps and normal hops, so that way you can navigate areas smoothly. As there isn't much besides the double jump and triple jump in terms of execution that needs to be done. So it's just a matter of learning when you should be long jumping, when you should be high jumping, when you should be hopping, when you should be short hopping. Mastering all of this will give you a good grasp of how Vexx works, and it can get you on your way to completing a speedrun of Vexx. None of these tricks are really difficult to learn. They just take a little bit to get the muscle memory down. Once you get the muscle memory down, the game basically becomes just being able to shoot it all together into one nice little package. There's only 2 points of RNG in the entire speedrun. The The first is in the below, which is over here. The below has a minigame where you gotta play against the pirates, and they're dropping cannonballs on a checkerboard, and you gotta turn the checkerboard into one consistent colour, be it black or white, and they're dropping cannonballs that shoot in threes. And you'll see it when you get to it, but where they drop the cannonballs, from what I understand, is largely random, and so getting a good pattern is down to a combination of how lucky you are and how well you can deal with the respective luck you're getting. Another RNG system is the sumo wrestler, also in the below, his second fight. When you're setting up the first phase to knock him off, there is a chance he will immediately attempt to use his rock throwing animation, which is incredibly slow, but there's very little you can do about it when it happens, so unfortunately you just lose about 30 seconds to it. And of course the final boss, in his second phase, you're trying to get him to grab you, or do the grab animation, and the best way to do it is to taunt him by standing relatively close to his face. Not too close that he leaps away from you, because if you get too close he runs away. But standing just where he's going to grab, where he can grab you easily, and then trying to bait out his grab. Just be careful, he'll probably ground pound as well, and ground pounds deal 2 points of damage and can very badly hurt you. All in all, this is all you need to know in order to speedrun Vexx to the best of your ability. The only other glitch in the game is wing damage, but that's not included in any percent. That's 100%, and it's an incredibly easy trick. You merely do any form of action while you're in your wingsuit, when you're maybe that high from the ground, and you will just land normally. And then you'll have wingsuit, and then jumping will make you fly again. It's very simple, very easy, like not really worth demonstrating. Yeah.